Welcome to Fightmaster, the show where we analyze the galaxy's most legendary warriors and break down their most iconic jewels. My name is Precognition, I am your host. Today, we're looking at a clash that took place aboard the Imperial warship, the Revenge. A duel between Kharn the Betrayer and Grandmaster of the Dark Angels, Azrael. While a consummate warrior, Azrael faced a difficult match. If one could pick the perfect opponent to defeat the Dark Angels Chapter Master in single combat, Kharn of the World Eaters is perhaps the best choice. As this duel was the direct result of demonic meddling, it's wholly possible this is in fact the case. Attempting to lead the Dark Angels' elite first company, the Deathwing, in assistance to a force of Grey Knights, Azrael had his teleportation intercepted, was separated from his forces, and brought to a mess hall somewhere on the heavily demon-corrupted warship, the Revenge. Awaiting him, an equally confused Captain Kharn of the 12th Legion, who had been unwillingly plucked from some unholy slaughter to kill the Dark Angels Chapter Master. In close combat, Kharn is a slugger. This is not a derisive term. Despite how the name sounds, it's a legitimate fighting style. The slugger seeks to end a fight with a single, devastating blow. When throwing combinations, few if any of these blows will be thrown with less than full authority. Even if they all miss, a message to the slugger's opponent is sent. Your armor will not protect you. If I hit you cleanly once, you will die. This makes a slugger both difficult to defend against or even attack, as every blow thrown by the slugger has to be respected, defended against, in some way. A slugger, however, is particularly vulnerable at the start of combinations, or while forced onto the back foot. With his millennia of experience, and physical attributes enhanced by his dark god, Kharn is possibly the apex of this style, and is almost never on the back foot. This is all a significant issue for Azrael, and I'll explain why. Like many sons of the Lion, and indeed the Lion himself, Azrael favors a pressure style. Again, this is a misleading term. Pressure fighting is not about constant aggression, but about a technically excellent defense, while seeking to remain in your opponent's effective striking range near constantly. A pressure fighter wears their opponents down with counters and tight combinations that offer little risk, but are timed specifically to make them hard to stop, all the while giving the opponent little time to think or breathe. Against Kharn, who does not feel pain, does not feel fatigue, and offers so much threat in every swing, a pressure style becomes very risky, given Kharn's preternatural speed, maybe even suicidal. But Azrael is a chapter master of a chapter that prides itself on dueling ability. He is able to switch styles without a particularly large loss of effectiveness, abandoning his normal dueling strategy, and instead of crowding the World Eater, he seeks to create distance after only momentary clashes, intending instead to catch Kharn as he enters range, adding the World Eater's considerable momentum to what would otherwise be a quick, light strike, before exiting laterally behind another blow to cover his escape. Against a lesser World Eater champion, this adaptation probably would have worked extremely well, as they would have a difficult time landing a telling blow on the both elusive and solidly guarded Azrael, while he ran them onto strike after strike. But Kharn is not another World Eater. He is not a simple berserker. In addition to his physical gifts, he is a monstrously skilled slugger, able to seamlessly flow between attacks, change the direction of his massive axe, feint, parry, not simply batter till something telling lands. In addition to his skills, Kharn knows just how threatening he is, and like all sluggers, uses it to his advantage, chaining together heavy kill strikes to either crush weak foes or force a skillful one to keep making choices. Do I risk a counterattack here? Do I dodge out of range? Parry? Is this blow meant to land? Is it just meant to get my weapon out of the way? Until eventually, inevitably, they make the wrong choice. at which point most fights are over, as the number of beings that can endure a clean blow from Kharn's gore child is very small. However, Kharn didn't have it all his own way. Skilled or not, he is still a world eater. He still has the butcher's nails eating away at his brain. He has a hard time taking things into consideration that aren't his opponent. Things like the environment. In a mess hall for humans on a starship, two Astartes clashing in full plate becomes a little cramped. The massive chain axe gore child repeatedly got caught on, well, everything. Walls, the ceiling, furniture, but especially the floor. As he defended, Azrael found he could with some consistency drive Gorechild down into the deck if he parried appropriately. Azrael's own weapon, the Sword of Secrets, reminiscent of what we would call a bastard sword, is a power blade designed with versatility and balance in mind, to be used one or two-handed. Gorechild, on the other hand, while a masterful blade, is still a chain axe intended for a Primarch, a demigod. With its size and constant movement, even Kharn could be forced into positions where the axe was unwieldy. While he had found a hole in Kharn's game, Azrael wasn't able to take significant advantage. Yes, he could create openings, but Kharn's athleticism meant even with his weapon stuck in the floor, he was extremely difficult to land significant blows on. The Herald of the War God cannot be dissuaded with anything less than a significant blow, and it's extremely difficult to defeat an enemy that doesn't respect the threat of your attacks. The reality of the situation was, when Azrael parried Gorechild, more damage was being done to the deck than to Kharn. Pressing forwards as he had for 10,000 years, the World Eater was able to enforce his game plan effectively, forcing Azrael to keep making snap responses to his regression. While able to adjust from a mistake without being cut in half like most people, Kharn was landing on him, and with greater authority than the cuts Azrael was inflicting back. Clash after clash, a blur no human eye could follow, the Herald and the Chapter Master fought, all over the abandoned mess hall, turning it into a scrap heap, until, battering him to the ground, Kharn forced one final choice on Azrael. Heavily wounded at this point, the Dark Angel still regained a crouch almost instantly. Before him, Kharn was freeing Gorechild from the ceiling above, where the blade had gotten caught during the exchange that had knocked Azrael from his feet. This was it, a true opening, an opportunity to inflict a devastating thrust upwards into the World Eater, a wound that would kill even an Astartes. But not instantly. If Azrael made such a move, the World Eater would still have several more minutes of life and the perfect position to finish the heavily wounded, crouching Chapter Master. Still, it was a worthy death. Azrael would go down in legend for felling the nightmare known as Kharn the Betrayer. For the briefest moment, the Grand Master of the Dark Angels was tempted. Such a death was all a Space Marine could wish for and more, but it was not why he was here. Azrael's mission was to support the hard-pressed Grey Knights and cleanse the demonic, not throw his life away slaying a champion of chaos that didn't even want to be here. Ancient master-crafted powerblade in hand, Azrael chose life. Instead of thrusting upwards, he rammed the Sword of Secrets into what had once been the mess hall deck, but was now a cracked ruin, obliterating the piece of floor he was crouching upon, and sending the Dark Angel plummeting unnaturally deep into the Revenge's demon-corrupted engine decks. Given that Kharn has been slaughtering his way across the galaxy for 10,000 years, and has such favor of his god that supposedly even the grave cannot hold him, I'd say Azrael made the right decision. What do you think? Should the Dark Angel's Chapter Master have sacrificed himself for a shot at killing the mighty Kharn? This has been Fightmaster. As always, I'm your host, Precognition, and I'll see you in the future.